a different type of magical realism world, where the main character Ellen discovers she can see as well as hear music, and it comes to fruition during the story, and she feels that this power that she has is perhaps big enough to deal with the bad stuff in the world. And so it's a good against evil thing, but and that's it. And behind the whole story was the feeling to empower children, to give them this extra thing where they actually speak and the adults listen and stuff like that. So that runs through the
Fantastic.
story, but I won't spoil the ending for you. You're going to have to read it.
We have got a great guest joining us today here on the British rock group Uriah Heep, and since 1986 he's worked as a session musician and sideman with all sorts of different folks. And look, why did you decide to write this incredible book, my friend?
It's a very good question. Why does anyone write anything? I don't know. Let me see. It's when you have something. It's like writing a song. If you have something in your head and it's nagging you all the time, you eventually got to do something about it. And being a kind of a creative kind of a person, I did the same with the book, and it stuck with me for many years while I was going through all the. Because as you know, you've got to go through lots of different drafts to hold it down, to make it swing well, to make the chapters work together and the story roll as a whole unit.
Yes.
And that took some time, believe me, and I had to get a lot of help from people who were readers to help me out, making sure the story was gelling right. But it was a bug that I had, that I wanted to get this story down about the kid uses her power to end evil, and it comes from a kid, not from an adult. That was the important thing.
That's fantastic. That is a great message, my friend. Now, what do you want readers to take away from your writing of this great book?
What do I want readers to take away from my writing? I tell you what I want them to do. I want them to look into their, what's the word for it? Magical side. The things that we know can't happen in the material world. Let's make them happen in the magical brain world, the spiritual world. Let's make them happen there, and perhaps they'll happen for real. And I think it's a very adult book as well as being a kid's book, because I originally pitched it as 9 to 14-year-olds, but from the people that have read it now, it's also an adult read as well as a kid read. Although I must say nowadays the young kids of 9 and 10 probably don't read at all. They're on their screens.
Yes. For whatever reason, they seem to be on that, and it's unfortunate. Now, with this book, what's been some of the different reactions and feedback and everything you've gotten on the book so far? Well,
they've been surprised, really, because, I mean, don't forget my whole career I've been a musician and a songwriter, and certainly no one knows anything about the fact that I've been writing all these years. And so they're totally surprised and totally impressed completely. I mean, people have said, well, the story is amazing, and they talk to me about the character, Ellen, and her father, and all the little bits and pieces, and the era when it's written, which is in 1958. You know, I've had all these questions fired at me, and it's almost like having an album review, but in a literary kind of sense. Yeah. So it's kind of similar.
We have got a great guest with us today. Phil Lanzon joins us, Uriah Heep's keyboardist, and he has got a fantastic new book out there. And this book, you've put a lot of time and effort into this. It just is fantastic. What's been the writing process like for this book?
What's the writing process like? Well,
yes.
I did many drafts. Let me see. I couldn't even count how many drafts, as it changed from one thing to another. The process was really concentrating on the core fact of the plot, which was Ellen, the child, would go through hell and high water to reach the bad stuff. Okay, the bad stuff is the Mud Chalk Devil. That's the title. And she finds a book that's ancient, connected to a little bookshop in her town, and there's little fables in the book, and these fables come out in the story. So that's how it sort of rolls into the story, like through these stories that she finds. And that leads her onto the fantasy world as well. Takes her through to a place called the Fudget Fair. And the interesting thing about that word Fudget, F-U-D-G-E-T, is many years ago on tour with Uriah Heep, we were in Scandinavia, and Lee Kerslake, our drummer at the time, had bought an alarm clock, right? It's an old-fashioned thing that you wind up. Anyway, I was sitting on the bus, we were rolling. The sound people said to Lee, "That's a fun little gadget." And being a spoonerist, as I was at the time, I turned the words funny little gadget into ganny little fudget. And we all had to laugh at this word fudget. And then I immediately imagined a small, furry creature called a fudget. So I started writing that day at that moment. And that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
And it grew and grew and grew and grew into what it is now.
It's pretty amazing. We have got a great guest with us today. Phil Lanzon joins us. He has got a brand new book out there, and longtime Uriah Heep keyboardist Phil Lanzon with us today. Now, you also have a second ever solo album coming out. Tell me a little bit about this.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm a very keen movie soundtrack fan. I love movie soundtracks. I listen closely to movie soundtracks all the time, sometimes more so than the actual story, even though they can happen at the same time. And I like orchestral arrangements, and I like orchestra and band playing songs together. It just has a lovely sort of a lovely texture to it, and rather than using a synthesizer, and so I had a bunch of songs that I had left over, and I wanted to work on them. And I spoke to my producer Simon and my arranger Richard Cottle, and we got together with the new songs, and we created album number 2, and that's what you hear now, 48 seconds. But the important thing to remember is 48 seconds, the title track, is related totally to the 1906 earthquake of San Francisco, the big fire for 3 days. And I had that idea for many years, but it never came to fruition. I tried to write a song about the event, but it never worked out the way I wanted it until recently, and then suddenly the music dropped into place, and I rewrote the lyrics from the old song into the earthquake idea. We've got the orchestra working on it, and I wanted a nice orchestral introduction with a kids' choir at the end.
Wow.
And there was the song.
So, what was the idea behind getting the kids' choir involved? That's a cool idea.
Because I wanted to make a statement about Mother Nature and remembering that nature will always have the last word. No matter what it is that we talk about or what we do in our lives, something will come along or could come along, whether it be an earthquake, whether it be something else. Doesn't matter. All I'm saying is beware and, take protection, because Mother Nature always has the last word. And I wanted kids to say those words. So, from an innocent mouth comes these words, or out of the mouths of babes is the quote, isn't it? But
now,
that's how the song ends, and that's how the album ends.
What was the process of trying to find this kids' choir to be involved in this? What did you have to do?
I've got two wonderful contacts in Simon and Richard. They work a lot with orchestra. Oh, Richard works a lot with orchestras and choirs, and Simon works a lot with different session musicians. So between the two of them, we're able to bring together everything that was required for this record. And I'm very impressed with their work, because they are absolutely amazing people. And the choirs were wonderful, and I've got no complaints at all. I just love it all.
Fantastic. Phil Lanzon with us today. Uriah Heep's keyboardist is back with a brand new solo album and also a brand new book. Now, what's been some of the different feedback you've gotten on this album so far, my friend?
Oh, I've been having some amazing feedback. It's a bit like the book business I was talking to you about. I've had some great reviews from all over, and particularly West Coast America, and excuse me, and also all the write-ups that I've had from the European and Scandinavian press and the UK press have all come forward in the last few days, in fact, and it's been absolutely amazing. Much like the first album, which had an equal amount of excellent press, and again, like surprise, because nobody knew that I was doing stuff on my own, so now they know.
Fantastic. Now, talk to me about some of the different folks that help you out on this album. Talk to us a little bit about the recording lineup, who you have working with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I say, Simon enlisted. Richard Cottle's brother, Laurie, is a famous bass player over here, and all around the continent. And he played on both albums. He's a brilliant bass player. He's also a very good brass section arranger. And he did something for me on one of the songs where I said to him, would you mind, I want to turn this verse into a big band, crashing brass and blah, blah, blah. And I gave him the description. And he went away and he came back with the most amazing arrangement. And that's on the song, Look at the Time. I can't see the list in front. It's on one of the songs. Neil, the drummer, brilliant player. He can play anything. You tell him to do anything, he'll do it. Guitarist Adam Goldsmith, he's a rocker at heart. He plays in one of the West End shows in London, but he was so happy to do the session because all he wants to do is rock out on his guitar. There's some great solos on the album. Not enough, unfortunately, but there you go. Singers, I've got some great singers, John Mitchell from It Bites, and Andy Macon, and a lady called Miriam Gray, all fantastic lead vocalists, and of course there's myself.
Fantastic. We have got Phil Lanzon from Uriah Heep with us today, talking about his second album that he has out there, second solo album, and also this fabulous book. Where do we go for more information? Where do we get the albums? Where do we get the book? Find you online, everything, Phil.
Oh, of course. All you have to do is go to musicglue.com, musicglue.com. Put my name / Phil Lanzon, and all my product is there.
Fantastic. Well, I'm
just at the moment changing websites, so if you have any problem with that, it's because I'm just changing over as we speak. So it will be musicglue.com / Phil Lanzon.
Now that the book is out, what's next for you as an author?
I've just written the sequel. I've come to the end of the first draft of the sequel, so it'll take a lot more drafts to get through it because, it's a book, so it has to go through a long process of rereading and getting readers to read it, spell checking and doing all the business. So it'll take a while. It should be ready sometime next year.
Amazing stuff. Well, thank you, Phil. It's been an honor and a privilege to chat with you, my friend. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks for being with us today, my friend.
Okay, man. Well, thanks for your help.